from the Lakeside Newsroom of the Henrico Citizen, your hometown news source since 2001. This is the Henrico News Minute with publisher Tom Lapis.
A child dies in a crash on I-64, and Governor Abigail Spanberger delivers her first speech to a joint session of the General Assembly. We'll tell you about those stories and more in today's Henrico News Minute. It's Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. Sunny but cold day. We're headed to a high of just 38. The News Minute is brought to you by Ironworks Soaps.
And now for the news.
In her first address yesterday to a joint session of the Virginia General Assembly, new Governor Abigail Spanberger voiced strong support for a slate of constitutional amendments that already have been approved by lawmakers, and she also pressed for action on cost of living legislation, framing the moment as an early test of whether Virginia's new political alignment can deliver results. Those four amendments include protecting reproductive freedom, marriage equality, and the automatic restoration of voting rights for Virginians who have completed felony sentences. Those will all be on the ballot in November. The fourth amendment would allow lawmakers under narrow circumstances to redraw congressional maps mid-decade. It's part of a Democratic-led effort designed to counter moves in Republican states that are seeking to do the same thing. During her speech, Spanberger also focused on affordability issues. She said more than 70% of Virginians say they can't find housing that they can afford to rent or buy. She's given all state agencies 90 days to identify ways to cut costs for families and to review regulations that slow down housing construction. You can read the full text of her address right now on our website, henricocitizen.com, and learn more from our partners at Virginia Mercury. State lawmakers are preparing to revisit legislation that brought major changes to Virginia's K-12 public school testing system just a year after it was enacted. The main debate will center on whether to keep or repeal a provision passed last year that requires standardized testing assessments to count for 10% of students' final grades. That change last year was championed in the Senate by Henrico's Senator Schuyler Van Valkenburg, who's also a history teacher at Glen Allen High School. He said the primary goal of the legislation was to reduce overtesting by replacing separate teacher-led finals with standardized end-of-course exams, ensuring that students faced only one major cumulative test. He said the change also motivates students to give them a clearer reason to take the SOLs seriously and reduces burden on teachers. Legislation last year garnered widespread support in the General Assembly, but some lawmakers like Delegate Kelly Converse Fowler of Virginia Beach, Democrat, who opposed certain portions of it, argued that the education community did not entirely support the revamp. You can read much more on this topic right now on our website, henricocitizen.com, from our partners at Virginia Mercury. Legislators at the General Assembly also will debate a number of legislative proposals to streamline regulations related to data centers, as well as to balance environmental priorities and address community concerns about the industry. A poll conducted recently by the Chesapeake Climate Action Network found that 3/4 of voters blame data centers for rising utility costs, and 9 out of 10 believe that lawmakers need to take some action. A controversial method of regulation proposed by Delegate Josh Thompson, a Democrat of Prince William, is being explored through House Bill 155. It would put additional reviews onto high load users over 25 megawatts, which describes most data centers and manufacturers. The State Corporation Commission would examine if proposed data centers and other high load companies made sufficient contracts with renewable energy production and storage or have proper demand response measures. The bill also would require the SCC to make sure that there's enough energy and transmission capacity on the electric grid to support the new project. A similar bill did not make it through last year's General Assembly process. Another measure proposed by Delegate John McAuliffe, a Democrat of Fauquier, would prevent utilities from putting the cost of transmission lines and energy generation that mostly serve data centers onto residential taxpayers. You can read much more about a number of bills related to data centers right now on our website, again from our partners at Virginia Mercury. A 6-year-old boy was killed in a multi-vehicle crash on I-64 in eastern Henrico County on Sunday night when a vehicle rolled over because the driver was using a cell phone. That's according to Virginia State Police. The boy was not wearing a seatbelt and was ejected through the rear passenger side window. Today's Henrico News Minute has been brought to you by Ironworks Natural Soap. Ironworks, a men's grooming and supply company, is located in Short Pump and has launched a new line of soaps for men. They're all natural and offer a great lather, provide nourishment for skin, and have no synthetic ingredients. Learn more at ironworkssoap.com.